here in Ho Chi Minh City, Vietnam. We really wanted to go to the Mekong Delta, and so we found a place near our hotel that would take us, but it was the first place we looked at, and we didn't look at anywhere else because it ended up being so cheap. It was only about $8 US a person. So that should have been the first red flag, because I'd heard from friends that it was around $50 to do the tour, and we did it for substantially less. But instead we fell for it and we decided to do it because why not, it was cheap. So in the morning they pick you up from the travel agency. They told us it was about an hour-and-a-half drive to the Mekong River. It ended up being closer to 4 hours before we actually got there. We got there close to noon. Good morning. Today we are going on a Mekong Delta tour. We're gonna visit 4 different islands and we're about to take the bus there. It should be about an hour-and-a-half bus ride.
And we took side streets the whole way, which is ridiculous because on the way back we took the highway and it was so much shorter.
Alright, so we just got to the pit stop. They said it was taking an hour-and-a-half, but it's actually been 2 hours already, and we have a 20-minute pit stop, and then I'm not sure how much farther. So it's taking a little longer than we wanted.
They lied.
And we also didn't leave till 8:30. We were supposed to leave around 8:10. So we're gonna have a bit of a later start, which is unfortunate since we only have 1 day here. It's just a day trip. But right now we're stopping to get snacks. We haven't eaten yet, so I'm pretty hungry. And then we're gonna finish on towards the Mekong Delta once we're done with this pit stop.
I'm so excited.
We realized afterwards that we only took the side streets so we could stop at the certain places that they wanted us to stop for pit stops. And each of these places were shops with things that we were encouraged to buy. We're about to get back on the bus. They didn't tell us how much longer, but hopefully not too much longer since it's already 10:40, but we'll find out. There's also a temple where we saw Buddha statues, which was interesting, but not on the itinerary originally. Well, we thought we were going to the Mekong Delta next, but we're actually stopping at this temple to see a bunch of Buddha statues. And so we have 20 minutes here to see a standing Buddha, a sitting Buddha, and a happy Buddha statue.
First of all, they told us that we were going straight to the Mekong Delta. We have now had 2 pit stops. What? Like, this wasn't even on the itinerary.
Yeah, this wasn't on the itinerary, so it's a little strange. And we're just disappointed because we're gonna have less time at the river now. This is really beautiful and all, but it's not really what we paid to see, so hopefully we'll get to the Mekong soon. Well, we were told it was an hour-and-a-half ride, and about 4 hours later, we're here at the Mekong River. And so at least we finally made it. It's almost noon right now. When we finally got to the river, we got on a big boat and were taken to an island. We were on the river for maybe 15 minutes, probably less. And then once we got on the island, we were walked through rows and rows of shops to a little spot to try some honey tea, which we were given the option to buy. We're stopped at the first island where we're gonna try honey products and bee products and some honey tea.
What is this?
Royal jelly and honey.
It's so cool, you can see their little tongues sticking out.
Really?
You want to try?
No.
And then we were taken to a place where we could listen to some traditional music, where we were very highly encouraged to tip, and everybody ended up tipping. So we just finished getting fruit and then hearing some local music. And at the end they asked for tips, and then he told us we're going on a rowing boat now and you should probably give tips to the people rowing.
This is the biggest tourist trap I've ever been on.
So we're starting to get the sense that this is really just a place to give money more. And we've been on the river for maybe 10 minutes and then we get to this island where there's lots of shops and things. So yeah, it seems like they're just trying to get our money. So then after that, we were taken to the little rowing boats, which is what we expected the entire trip to be. These are the pictures that we see on Instagram, and the pictures that you see mostly associated with the Mekong Delta is those small little boats with the people in the front and back that row you down the river.
With the rice hats. When we signed up, the woman basically made it sound like we were gonna be doing that the whole day long, which is what I was really excited to do.
And so that ended up being probably 10 minutes, if that. And we went down the river a little bit, and the woman kept on pointing out things like her house and told us how poor she was. It was strange because the one thing she said about her house was that it was a very poor house, and then she told us about her children and things. Then at the end, after the 10 minutes, which we thought would be the entire day, we were brought back to our main boat, and the woman asked for a tip. I handed her a couple thousand and she kept asking for more. So we were only on the river for like 5, maybe 10 minutes at most. And now we're back at the main boat about to get dropped back. So I'm hoping we go back on this river again because that was very quick. And then we were taken to another island where we got off and were told we had an hour there. On this island we had lunch, which was included in the tour, but as we were getting there, the guide told us that there was options to buy more food. We're getting food now, and we have free lunch that was included with the trip, but they told us that we can buy more food once we get here, so clearly they're just trying to get more money. They told us this fish was caught from the river, but it's super dirty, so I wouldn't trust it. So after we finished eating, since we were allotted an hour on this island, we had a good amount of time left. And so we walked around and there was tons of stores and other things to buy. And then we stumbled upon a really horrific sight, which was a crocodile pit. And all the crocodiles were basically sitting on top of each other, probably stacked up 4 crocodiles on top because it was such a small cage. And tourists had the options to pay to feed the crocodiles and put like this big piece of meat on a fishing rod and lower it down to them. There was also a squirrel in a really small cage, which was really strange to see, and it was just going crazy, spinning around in that cage. And then next to it was a bird with a leash on its foot, and these little kids kept kind of messing with it, and it looked really distraught. And so that was a sad sight. After this island, we were taken to Coconut Island, which ended up being pretty interesting because we got to see how coconut candies were being made.
Yeah, the candy was delicious. I can attest. I probably had more than anyone else.
Definitely, I can attest to that.
Like this, the local people just make about 5 seconds. Have this. If I make maybe about 15 minutes. So I just show you how to make it. After that, after we have this, we cut a half and we draw the coconut rice. They put coconut rice over there. Yes, and
It was a little strange because once again it was just another place where there was tons of products for us to buy, but it was an interesting process to watch.
Something I found very interesting was out of the 4 people packaging the candies, 2 of them were little kids. We were there on a Wednesday during like normal school hours, so I don't really know the backstory about everything. I found it interesting.
Thank you. Snake-infused alcohol. Good? It's like very weak vodka, not strong at all.
Really?
Yeah, it's really weak.
I lost my hat in the wind on a sting boat. Boy stood up and then the wind was up and by my hat.
So after Coconut Island, we were taken to a bus, and I thought we were gonna head back to Ho Chi Minh City, which was on the itinerary, but instead we were taken to a bamboo shop where all the products were made out of bamboo. And we had to walk through this entire store with these women coming up to us trying to sell us these bamboo products. So we've now been brought to a bamboo factory where they're trying to sell us goods that are made out of bamboo. But now we're just wandering through all these products and people come up to us and ask if we want to buy them. It's just a big factory. We got back on the bus and we thought we were just gonna go back, but we stopped here instead.
Biggest tourist trap ever.
So hopefully we're just going back to Ho Chi Minh now, and then we're just gonna get dropped off at our hotel and we can go do something else. When we finally got back to Ho Chi Minh City, our tour guide asked us for even more tips and said that we should tip him as well as the bus driver, and came around and collected tips from each person. I only gave him a little bit because I was just kind of fed up with the whole thing, and I think he got kind of upset about that, which is I find so ridiculous when it comes to tipping. I guess it's just being a tourist in these other countries, but I think tipping is something that you should do if you feel like it, not something that should be required or asked of you. Definitely do your research before and probably book something a little more on the expensive end because you'll probably get your money's worth. As we have found out, cheap is cheap.
Overall, would not recommend.